you've got it so it's set up so everyone's a different.
Yeah, the audio's separate. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
Cool. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Okay, are we ready?
Should we clap?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Great.
Look at my
Here we
nails.
go.
They're so ugly.
That's crazy.
It's so ugly. And they make my hands look so gross. Okay. Hello and welcome to Web Crawlers, a podcast where we do a deep dive into some of our favorite unsolved mysteries. Each week we will introduce our topic, lay out our research and findings, reveal some conspiracy theories, and conclude with our own hypothesis. Who knows, we might even solve the case. I am Allie Siegel.
I'm Melissa Stetson.
And me, Maria.
Cool.
Me, Maria. Web Crawlers has a Patreon to get access to rewards, bonus episodes, shout outs, these videos that we're doing. Please go to patreon.com/webcrawlers. You can donate as little as $2 a month to become a bimbo patron. Also, super important, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
Very important.
Yes. If you've given us a review already, give us a review again, if that's even possible.
You know, I don't think it's possible, but if you want to create a whole new account and write another review, do it. What else are you doing?
You're doing nothing right now, literally. If you give us a 5-star review and you screenshot it and DM it to us, we will give you a shout out on the podcast.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, how cool is that? And I will send you a picture of my feet.
Oh my God.
That's more than worth it.
Is that a deal or what? And also we have a hotline. The number is
626-604-6262.
So if you leave us, that was beautiful. If you leave us a message, we will play it on our Friday mini episode. Melissa, who are our new patrons?
We have Haneke B. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Michael B. Assuming that's Michael Bolton.
Yes.
Rebecca L. And Melinda M.
Amazing. Thank you guys for being friends of the pod. Should we get on to our main story of the day? We also have like a ton of interviews.
This is going to be a whole...
Yes.
It's going to be a thing.
It's a jam-packed sode with real live witches and astrologers.
Oh boy, strap in.
Strap in, buckle up. This is one for the books. What are we talking about today?
So in film, witches are often portrayed as evil, scary, wart-nosed women hunching over cauldrons, stirring up evil potions like Maria does every night before she goes to bed. Or
that's just a drink. That's just alcohol.
Or riding through the sky on brooms wearing pointy hats. But in real life, we know better. Witches are good, natural healers, worshippers of nature and the planet, and are mostly misunderstood. Plus, the real history of witches is complex, dark, and often deadly. So basically, we're going to give you a crash course on the occult. Let's get into it. So, Allie's grandma...
Oh, yeah. This is a story I wanted to tell.
Yeah, go. Your grandma was a Reiki master. What's this all about?
Yeah. Okay. So, my grandma was a Reiki master, which is like a Japanese like hand healing art. And which I also do, but she was like, I know there's 3 degrees of Reiki. So I know 1 and 2, and I'm like getting a refresher on it now. But my grandma knew up to 3, which is where you can actually like teach other people Reiki, which is cool. And then my great grandpa was a water dowser, which is also known as like a water witch.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. So what he would do is he would like take dowsing rods, which would either be like, it's like a metal rod, or sometimes they would use a branch, and I don't know what year this would be in. So if this was like my great grandpa, this would be like the 1800s, right?
Well,
No.
well, my grandma was born in the 30s, so
Right,
great
so
grandma
the-
would be well.
Right?
No,
the
it'd
late
probably be
1800s.
early. It might. It depends on how old your
Yeah, it would have been the it
early
depends how old they are.
1900s. Depends on how old you're.
They wouldn't have been practicing in the 1800s. They could have been born in the 1800s.
Right, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah. So, because my grandma was born in like 18 or something. She's dead now. So,
Right.
so my great grandpa.
Oh, your grandma was born in 1918?
Yeah, she's dead
Oh.
now. I think so.
Well, my grandma was born in 1921 and she's alive.
Oh.
Yeah, my grandma died like when I was 13.
So yeah, great grandparents probably would have been born in the 1800s. So yeah, probably
You know.
early 1900s.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Okay. So anyway, so what he would do is he would take like like a metal rod or like two wooden sticks, and people would call him to like different farms near him, and he would use like his intuition or like connect to nature or something like that, and like the rods or like the wood would like draw him to where the water on the farm or underground was.
Wow.
So that they could try to find water on the land. And
Where was this? Like what part of the world?
it was in California. They were they were somewhere in California.
That's
Oh,
great,
wow.
and it worked. Like
Yeah.
he that's what he was known for.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's so
Yeah.
what would it would just like take him to places or like move when he
Yeah,
was
so he would,
a
like,
metal
use-
detector?
Yeah, like a metal detector or like almost like a Ouija board when you like ask it questions.
Oh.
So he'd be like, "Where is there water on this land?" And it would like lead him to where the water was.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool as shit.
yeah, so like my grandma was like a healing lady, and then my great grandpa was what they call like a water witch.
Wow.
A water witch. I love that.
A water witch.
Yeah, weird, right? So on that note, there's a lot of different types of witches, and we're gonna have an interview with this dude John Tenney, who is who says he's a witch or is a witch and a shaman.
Oh, okay.
And
He's
like
a big friend of the podcast.
huge friend of the pod, and he's also like a UFO expert,
Right.
and like a lecturer and like other things.
And he's from Detroit, Michigan.
Sick. do
Right.
we have any ties to Detroit?
From Kalamazoo, Michigan. I went
nice.
to a lot of raves in Detroit.
I didn't even know Kalamazoo was in Michigan.
Oh boy. Where did you think I was from?
I thought Kalamazoo was its own state.
Yeah.
No, Allie.
State of mind.
Yes, it is a state of mind. Melissa, what kind of witches are there?
Okay, there's a lot of different witches. There's the traditional witch, and they take a traditional approach to their practice, and they often study what their ancestors or other folklore attached to witchcraft studied. So traditional witches, they want to honor the old ways of practicing their craft, and they often focus on working with local history and spirits of where they are or where they've come from. And while these witches do old history and customs in high regard, there are absolutely contemporary traditional witches who practice today. So they're like the basic bitch of witches. Basic
Bitch of witchcraft.
witches. Then there's the Gardnerian witch. So Gardnerian Wicca is a practice of Wicca that started around the 1950s because of this guy named Gerald Gardner, who's often considered the father of Wicca.
He's a witch daddy.
Witch daddy. Your great grandpa was a witch.
Witch daddy.
So those who
Witch papa.
Witch papa. Oh, sounds too much like Papa Roach for some reason. So those who practice
life in two pieces. This
Oh my
is
God.
my last resort. Suffocation. No breathing. Okay, I'm done.
Don't care if you're something. Haven't we sang Papa Roach on this podcast
I feel
before?
like
I don't
we
know.
have.
I'm having
Honestly, I feel
deja
like we
vu.
have.
That's such a good
Okay.
song, though.
It is a good song. So those who practice Gardnerian Wicca have strong ties to nature. They challenge societal norms and have many rituals that are the foundation of their practice. And in order to be a Gardnerian witch, you must be initiated, and members cannot initiate themselves.
Weird. I wonder who initiates them, like the coven, I guess, or.
Yeah. So there's the sea witch. The sea witches feel collected to the ocean, the element of water, and they use a lot of water elements in their practice. They feel collected to water folklore, archetypes, and symbology. And then there's the kitchen witch. They are very home-based, often incredibly nurturing, and love to make their home a truly special and sacred space. That's interesting. I've never heard of a kitchen witch.
Well, I hadn't either. And then I know this witch, and she's like was in my counseling program, and she considers herself to be a kitchen witch, or she's like she is a witch in a lot of different arenas, but she calls herself a kitchen witch.
That's
And
cool.
what do they do?
They're very nurturing. They make their home like a special and sacred space.
I think they practice mostly out of their home. So their home is kind of like a sacred altar, and they do most of their stuff out of their house. But I actually have a lot of questions, which is why I wanted to have a lot of guests, because I think there's a lot of like bullshit on the internet about what witchcraft is. So I want to have
there's so many different resources that I've read. Some of them contradict each other, and there's so much information out there. So
yeah, I wanted to have like real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like a kitchen witch, in my opinion, of what I've just skimmed over in the last 30 seconds.
It's like Ina Garten.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's like someone that like just cooks from the earth, like creates a home. It's like basically like just someone who like has a garden and cooks really good food.
Well, the woman that I know like does have a garden. She makes all her own food. She's like completely self-sufficient. She like all the meats and all the stuff she cooks. Like she has her own farm, and she does everything like in like a self-sustained bubble. But also she like makes her own like potions and like aromatherapy and like concoctions.
Oh, yeah.
Drinks. And
I want to be a kitchen witch.
Yeah, me
too. I think you'd make a good kitchen witch.
Because a kitchen witch makes the home and kitchen their sacred space, incorporating herbs from the garden into their food and practice. Like, I could do that.
Yeah, and like people come to her for like potions or you know, like concoctions or drinks and stuff like that, special drinks, and she makes it all based on stuff that she's grown at her house.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I could do that.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
And then there's a hedge witch. So the hedge witch can cross the barrier between our world and the spirit world. So they jump the hedge or the boundary between the worlds, and they can do things like astral projection and communicate with spirits. That's interesting.
My grandma used to say that she could do astral travel.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's
crazy. Then there's the Dianic witch, which is only for women. It's called the Cult of Diana. And they practice feminist witchcraft. So they honor the woman in all her forms, the maiden, the mother, and crone. It was founded by Zuzana Budapest in the United States in the 1970s. So that's interesting. And there's the elemental.
They honor like all the stages of life of women. Like
cool.
Maiden is like the youngest. The mother is like the next stage of life, and then the crone is like when you're an old lady.
Oh, an old crone.
An old crone.
And then there's the kitty. Get off. What are you doing, kitty? Oh, God.
Oh, poor kitty.
It's maybe that's like your familiar. Witches always have an animal who's like their little spirit guide.
Whoa.
What movie is that from where they talk about their familiar?
Probably like every witch movie.
The Craft. Then there's the elemental witch, and they study and practice based on the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water.
Yeah.
Earth, wind, fire. Nope. So then there's the green witch. They're the garden witch or the forest witch. They're connected to nature and Mother Earth. They use herbs, local plants, garden, etc. in their magic. So kind of like a kitchen witch?
Similar to the kitchen witch.
Then there's the cosmic witch or the star witch. They're into astrology, astronomy, celestial practices, planets, alignments of the stars, the moon, etc.
So speaking of the cosmic witch or the star witch, we have a interview now with this really cool astrologer. Her name is Mackenzie Greer, and she's an astrologist and a palmist. She studied at the School of Oracles and the Astrological Institute of Kepler College. She does astrology and palmistry professionally. And she's going to answer some questions for us about like what astrology is, what birth charts are, and why any of this matters.
Now, cool. Just a question to be edited out. Does she consider herself a witch?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because if she doesn't, this could be another episode, mini episode. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, good question.
Oh yeah.
I'll ask her that. So
and then there's one witch that we forgot about. It's called the Sand Witch.
Sand.
They study and practice the making of BLTs.
No, Melissa. That's not true. I love BLTs though. I could be a sandwich.
Oh, Allie's like, really? There's a sandwich?
I thought it was too. Oh my god, that's one of we should ask each of our witch guests if they've heard of the sandwich.
You'd be like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of.
Oh my god, I'm crying. That's so funny.
Okay.
Well, maybe insert interview here.
Yeah.
Okay, so astrology in like the broadest sense, it's when humans search for meaning in the sky, in the planets, in the stars. It has gone back so far as the 3rd millennium BC, and it's obviously super popularized now. It used to be more of like a science. Well, I don't want to say that. It's still a scientific thing, I guess. But now people are using it in like apps, and it got popularized when people started putting astrology in like the daily newspaper. And there was like the astrology column.
Oh, that's how it got popularized.
Yeah, when there started to be the astrology column in the newspaper.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the first known astrological artifact is called the Venus Tablet of Amisaduca. It was compiled in Babylon around 1700, and it's the oldest surviving record of Mesopotamian astrology. Obviously, there are 12 signs that correspond with the planets and constellations. Melissa, what sign are you?
I'm an Aries.
Oh, interesting.
My birthday was a couple days ago, actually.
Oh my God, yes, we forgot. Happy birthday to you.
Cha-cha-cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha-cha-cha.
Happy birthday,
dear Melissa. Oh, gosh. Happy birthday to you.
Wow, that was hauntingly beautiful.
Thank you. Maria, what's your sign?
I'm a Taurus, baby.
Oh, fascinating.
Oh, when's your birthday?
May 16th.
Ooh, nice.
So there are 12 signs that correspond with the planets and constellation. There are the Aries, which is from March 21st to April 19. The Taurus, which is April 20 to May 20. The Gemini, which is May 21 to June 20, famously the worst sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Donald Trump is a Gemini.
Oh.
Gemini is when you have like two sides to your personality. And
Oh.
like they're one of them's bad. Like you can like
Oh no,
switch
my
on
dad is a Gemini.
Do you like your dad?
Yeah, he's fine.
My dad's a Gemini too. My
You
dad's
like-
great. Yeah, my dad's great.
All
Yeah.
right. Cancer, June 21 to July 22. Leo, July 23 to August 22nd. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. They're real A-type personalities. Libra is September 23rd to October 22nd. Do you know
That's
a Virgo?
what Craig is.
A Virgo?
No, Craig's a Libra.
Oh, interesting.
But a lot of my good friends are Virgos.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Interesting. Is Amanda a Virgo?
No, she's a Taurus.
Oh.
As it's a lot of my good friends are Tauruses and Virgos. It's really strange, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Sagittarius, November 22nd, December 21. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19. Aquarius is January 20 to February 18. And Pisces, the best sign, is February 19 to March 20. So the astronomer Ptolemy, author of Tetrabiblos.
I think it's just Ptolemy.
Do you say Ptolemy?
No,
Yeah.
that was an error. That was a glitch. And that was something weird that the Zoom did.
Oh, weird. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That
weird.
was a Zoom error.
Well, that's like Melissa calling Vlad the Impaler Vlad.
I was calling him Vlad, and someone on Instagram was like, it's Vlad, one syllable. Look, I don't know.
Sure it's not Ptolemy?
I'm not, but I'm just, let me,
Let's see. Do your this is how it's pronounced machine.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
This is how it's pronounced, machine.
Pro.
Just fire up the machine. It's like this big thing she has.
Yeah. Fire up the machine.
Gotta warm it up.
You can't hear
first.
it though.
Okay, well you can hear it and we'll trust you.
You can put it in
Ptolemy.
Ptolemy. Okay.
Ptolemy.
Interesting. Okay. Wrote Tetrabiblos, which became a core book in the history of Western astrology. And if you know anything about like, if you have that app like CoStar, or you know anything about astrology, it's not just like you're a Pisces or you're a Virgo or you're a Taurus. There's all this different stuff that like your birth chart can teach you.
Oh, right. Like based on the day and time you were born.
Yeah, and it's really confusing.
Right.
So like there's like your sun sign and your moon sign and like your rising and all this kind of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a little thing that describes what each does. So your sun sign is why you act and express the way you do.
Oh.
Your moon sign is why you react and you feel the way you do. Your ascendant or your rising is why do I see and meet the world the way I do.
Hmm.
Your Mercury is why do I think and communicate the way I do. Your Venus is why do I express affection the way I do.
Oh, interesting.
Because Venus is the same as Aphrodite, and Aphrodite is the goddess of love. Mars, why do I express anger and passion the way I do? Because Mars is the god of war.
Okay.
Jupiter, where do I feel most confident and where do I push my luck?
At the casinos.
Yeah, bling bling. Saturn, that was a slot machine.
I've won 2 years in a row in Vegas. I've won on the same Wheel of Fortune slot machine.
What? Really?
That's really crazy.
How much go?
I won like $1,200 the first time and like $1,000 the next time.
Whoa, that's like a stimulus check.
Yeah.
Saturn, where do I feel most anxious and where do I need to realize authority?
Oh no.
What is funny?
Just say it. Just say it.
What? What? What is it?
Uranus.
Oh my god.
Where do I rebel and innovate?
You know, I dated this guy for like a while ago, and he made a Uranus joke or something, and it was like that was the moment where I was like, "Oh, I have to break up with you." That was it for me. I was like, I can't. I gotta
This is
get
why
out
I'm
of this.
single, because I have the personality of a 13-year-old.
Like, it's a funny word. It's never not funny.
Also, I think it's pronounced Uranus, but like that's not a fun way to pronounce it.
Uranus.
Uranus. Neptune, where do I lose touch with reality and how do I escape it? Pluto, where do I feel most powerless and how do I let go of ego? Midhaven, what do I want to achieve? Descendant, what do I project on other people? Then there's something called Imqueli, which I've never heard of. How has my upbringing affected my psychological roots?
Oh, that's deep.
That's a cool one to know. So essentially, if you give either an astrologist or there's apps for it, your birthday.
It'll tell you everything.
Yeah, and your time of birth, and I think sometimes they also need to know the location you were born. It will give you all of these things. So this is exactly where all the planets were when you popped out of your mom's vajayjay, and it basically determines your whole personality, allegedly.
Oh yeah, like how the planets were aligned and what was going on that day in the world. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so witchcraft is practiced differently across
Uranus.
It is pronounced Uranus.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Wow.
A win for the team.
Okay.
Uranus.
Okay.
Maria.
All right. So witchcraft is also practiced differently across many cultures. So there's tons of different types of witchcraft. We're going to talk about hoodoo, which is also known as root work or conjure, and that was brought to the Americas by African slaves. Hoodoo is also known as Low Country voodoo in the Gullah, South Carolina Low Country. It's a traditional African American spirituality that developed from a number of West African spiritual traditions and beliefs. So
did you guys used to watch Gullah Gullah Island?
Come and let's play together in the bright sun weather. Let's all go to Gullah Gullah Island.
Gullah Gullah, Benya Benya.
Great show.
Remember Benya Benya?
Yeah, I do.
That big old frog.
Oh yeah, the frog. So hoodoo is a mixture of various African religious practices, and it's more like folk magic-y-ish. And so there's voodoo, which is often associated with pins and dolls and headless chickens, but it's much more complicated than that. It's a religion that originates in Africa, and those who practice voodoo believe that there is a visible and an invisible world, and that these worlds are intertwined. So death is a transition to the invisible world, so our predecessors are still with us in spirit after they die.
Yeah, I think that there's like a real emphasis on like your ancestors.
Yeah. So the predecessors watch over and inspire us. There's the key figures, and this is the Hungan, which is the priest, and the Mambo, which is the priestess, or the Bokor and the Kaplata, which are sorcerers and witches. And do you guys remember when Azealia Banks sacrificed chickens?
What? Didn't she have them in her closet or something?
There's a video from a few years ago she posted on Instagram. She had like this mask on, and she had a sander, and she opened up her closet, and it was like there was feathers.
I just typed it in. Oh my God.
And she was like, the amount of crap that's about to come off my floor right now, guys. Oh my God. 3 years worth of brujeria, which is It's witch. I think it means it's for Spanish. It's witchcraft, I believe.
Well, yeah, because a bruja in Spanish is a witch.
Right. So witchcraft. She's like, yes, I got to scrape all this shit up. Real witches do real things. And she like turned on the power sander, and she was like sanding.
Oh
like
my
feathers.
God, this is crazy.
Yeah, it happened like 3 years ago, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
She says my mother practiced white table magic. What's white table magic?
White
table.
Prayers to the ancestors and praying to saints and praying for all kind of protection.
Maybe it's a white table magic. All I'm seeing is Mexican white magic. Maybe that's. Oh yeah, it must be Spanish or Mexican magic because if she's using brujeria.
Oh right.
What did you say?
Brujeria or brujeria?
Brujeria.
Yeah. So she's a witch. Interesting. And another type of witchcraft is called Santeria, which is Cuban.
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. If I had $1 million, well, I'd spend it all.
Wait, before we get into that, I wanted to talk about some of the voodoo spirits or things that people pray to. Because I found this cool article, and it's on Ranker.
These could all be like specific episodes too. Like we could go into.
There's so much to voodoo and hoodoo that there's so many different like offshoots of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
So the first one is Papa Legba. And if you've ever watched American Horror Story, they talk about Papa Legba a lot in the American Horror Story coven. So he's the most well-known spirit, and he's considered to be the gatekeeper to like the spirit world. So he's standing between the crossroads of the human and the spirit world. And he's the first spirit who's usually like incanted in a voodoo ceremony. And he's often seen as an old man with injuries or deformities. He wears a straw hat, smokes a pipe, uses a cane to walk, and he's known as like a trickster.
Whoa.
Yeah. Then
that's cool.
In American Horror Story Coven, they always offer him cocaine as like an offering. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Then Urzuli Dantor. Urzuli Dantor is depicted as a black Madonna draped in robes with a crown on her head. She has a scar on one cheek, and she's mute because her tongue was cut out to ensure that she'd keep secrets. She's known as a mother figure and a protector of children. She's also the symbol of romance and love. She's a fierce love for women and children, and she's a very high respected spirit. Then there's Baron Samedi. He's the most visually recognizable of all the Loa. He wears a suit and tails, a top hat, and he has a skull for a face.
That sounds cool as hell.
Yeah. He is a keeper of the spirit world and ruler of the dead. He seems similar to Papa Legba.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's also able to cure disease. Erzuli Freda had 3 husbands sick. She is associated with love. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of different, there's this cool Ranker article. It says all the different.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So we won't go through all of them. And then it also says it has like the symbols that you can use.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, to summon them, I guess.
Stop biting me. What are you doing? Okay.
Okay, I've made my peace.
Okay, so another type of witchcraft is Santeria. So Santeria is Cuban, and Santeria followers believe that one God created the universe and that the world is cared for by lesser divine beings known as orishas. So since Santeria is heavily influenced by Spanish Catholicism, it developed in the culture of Spanish-speaking countries and colonies. And the focal point for the growth of Santeria is in Mexico and Cuba. And then Wicca, of course, is as a modern-day nature-based pagan religion. And it's one of the fastest-growing religions in the world, actually.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, most observations include the celebrations of solstices and equinoxes, the honoring of a male god and a female goddess, and the incorporation of herbalism and other natural objects into rituals. And many Wiccans believe in reincarnation, and it can be practiced by individuals or members of groups, sometimes known as covens.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have the Salem witch trials, which is obviously like one of the most famous things associated with witchcraft. The Salem witch trials began during the spring of 1692 after a group of young girls in Salem Village, Massachusetts, claimed to be possessed by the devil and accused several local women of witchcraft. Elizabeth Parris, age 9, and her 11-year-old cousin, Abigail Williams, started having fits. They screamed, threw things, and contorted themselves into strange positions.
Ew.
Yeah, and a local doctor blamed the supernatural.
As you do.
As one does. Another girl, Anne Putnam, age 11, experienced similar episodes. The girls blamed 3 women for afflicting them: Tituba, the Paris family's Caribbean slave; Sarah Good, a homeless beggar; and Sarah Osborne, an elderly, impoverished woman. A wave of hysteria spread throughout colonial Massachusetts. A special court convened in Salem to hear the cases. The first convicted witch, Bridget Bishop, was hanged that June. 18 others followed, while about 200 more men, women, and children were accused over the next several months. Oh, interesting. Crazy. I didn't know men were accused.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. By September 1692, the hysteria began to die down, and public opinion turned against the trials. The Massachusetts General Court later admitted the trials were a mistake. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Annulled guilty verdicts against accused witches and granted indemnities to their families.
So this only lasted like less than a year.
Crazy. I didn't know that. I felt like it lasted forever.
No.
What is this theory?
Well, ergot theory, I think we mentioned this like a while ago.
I literally just made you say it because I didn't know how to pronounce that word.
It could be pronounced ergo, ergot, or ergot.
Okay.
But there was this study published in Science magazine in 1976.
That's like the most suspect name for a magazine.
It's a real magazine. Science magazine. And it said this fungus ergot, which is found in rye, wheat, and other like cereals, the toxicologists say can cause symptoms such as delusions, vomiting, and muscle spasms. So this could explain these strange afflictions that the people who said they were cursed by witches.
That's
so
crazy.
The whole like Salem witch trials, like everything could be blamed on this weird fungus.
Mushroom theory.
Yeah, the mushroom theory.
The mushroom theory strikes
there it
again.
is.
So there's also some lesser known witch trials. There's the Torsiker witch trials, which were in 1675 Sweden, where 71 people were beheaded.
Crazy.
There's the Fulda witch trials, which was Germany. Excuse me. There's the Fulda witch trials from Germany 1600s, where 200 people were killed.
God.
Crazy. And then there's also the Paisley witches, which was Scotland 1697, where an 11-year-old Christian Shaw said she saw her family's servant steal a drink of milk. She told her mom, and the servant Catherine cursed her, saying she wished that the devil would haul her soul through hell.
Ooh.
A few days later, Christian ran into Agnes Naismith, an old woman reputed to be a witch. The next day, Christian got super sick with symptoms similar to those reported a few years earlier in the Salem witch trials. After 2 months of being sick, she finally recovered, but then got sick again. She would become as stiff as a corpse and motionless. Her parents took her back to the doctor, and she began pulling balls of hair out of her mouth.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's like The Ring.
Yeah, ew.
Yeah.
She claimed that they had been put there by the witches. Soon she began to pull other trash out of her mouth, including straw, coal, gravel, chicken feathers, and cinders. Ew.
Ew.
During her fits, she was sometimes talking to the invisible Catherine Campbell. Her minister concluded she was probably possessed by witches. Her father went to the cops and said whoever was doing this to his daughter should be arrested. Christian named 35 witches, male and female. There was a trial. Of the 35 Christian named, 7 were formally accused, and they were all charged with murder and tormenting people.
Yeah.
They were hanged and burned. 2 of the 7 were brothers, aged 11 and 14.
Yes, this like 11-year-old girl was like just had all these people killed because like her family was rich, and she was like, yeah, there's witches. Everyone's like clearly she was like putting this stuff in her mouth herself.
Yeah, she was eating garbage.
Yeah, what a weird kid.
Yeah, fuck. I actually knew someone who used to pull out her own hair and eat it, and then she had to get it removed from her stomach.
What? Wait, hair doesn't
No, it doesn't dissolve. That's why cats throw up hairballs.
All right. Huh. Eating your own hair, that's like, I can't think of it. Like when you have a hair in my mouth, like that's the worst feeling.
It's the worst feeling.
People are fucking weird.
People are crazy.
Okay, so current day witches. So in Ghana, still, women are often accused of witchcraft and attacked by their neighbors. And because of this, there are 6 witch camps in the country where women suspected of being witches can flee for safety.
Wow.
So the witch camps, which exist solely in Ghana, are thought to house a total of around 1,000 women. Some of the camps were set up over 100 years ago. So the Ghanaian government has announced that it intends to close the camps.
Wow. You know where the sandwiches go?
Where, Allie?
Where, Allie?
Subway.
Oh. Yep, they do.
Do you know that Togo's is like to go?
Wow. No, I didn't know that.
I always thought it was called to-go's.
You did?
I never thought it was called Togo's.
Is it not called Togo's?
I call it Togo's.
I think it is Togo's. I've never been there, but I've seen it.
I've never been there either. I'll type in Togo's pronunciation.
How do you...
I don't know if that's going to be in the dictionary.
If anyone wants to-go's or Togo's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, no one knows. My coworkers and I pronounce it Togo's. Togo's. But it's like to-go's. Sorry.
We'll never know. If anyone knows the mystery of Togo's, hit us up. So women accused of witchcraft are still being murdered. So thousands of women are murdered in Tanzania for being accused of witchcraft. They're beaten to death and burned alive. And there's this article from Inside Over that says thousands of Tanzanian women, in particular older women, have been murdered over the last 2 decades after being denounced as witches.
Whoa.
It's linked to hundreds of years of beliefs where magic and superstition were to blame for death, sickness, and poor crops. To date, laws still exist in Tanzania banning witchcraft. And so 93% of people in Tanzania still believe in witchcraft, while 60% of the population still rely on witch doctors to rectify maladies associated with witchcraft, such as illnesses, drought, or death.
Jeez.
Yeah. Still alive and well. Tanzania.
Yeah, and then I feel like now more than ever, witchcraft is kind of taking a more comeback. A more comeback.
A more comeback.
There's a lot of like, and I don't want to discredit it, but I feel like there's a lot of like Instagram witches.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And I'm kind of curious as to like how those people practice, or like what the deal with that is, or like if it's like a spiritual thing for them, or if it's just like you have a few crystals so now you think that you're a witch, or like what that whole vibe is. So that's why I'm excited to have like 2, or I guess 3 maybe, real like practitioners who actually do this stuff. In a few minutes, we're going to have Gabby Herstick on, and she has written 2 books on witchcraft.
Oh.
Let's see.
Gabby Herstick. How do you know her?
I know her from Instagram. I know her from my Instagram witch club. She wrote.
Oh, she looks cool as hell.
Yeah. I know her from Twitter. She wrote Craft Everyday Magic for Modern Witches. Oh wow, she's written 3 books. Craft Everyday Magic for Modern Witches. Inner Witch, A Modern Guide to the Ancient Craft. And Bewitching the Elements, A Guide to Empowering Yourself Through Earth, Air, Water, and Spirit.
Oh, and she has a witch column on Nylon and written for Hello Giggles and Vice.
Yeah, so, and she also practices sex magic, which I'm really curious about.
What about blood sugar sex magic?
Oh no.
Oh goodness gracious. So we can ask her about what the whole deal with that is. Yeah. Should we like pause recording for like 10 minutes?
Well, let's so we're having her, and then we're having what's his face from Instagram? What's his name?
John Tenney.
John Tenney.
And then the other person, what's her face? She is recording
and mailing it and emailing it to us.
Okay, cool.
And which one's the astrologer?
The astrologer is recording and mailing it to us.
Okay. So maybe, I mean, I'm just thinking because it's going to be a long episode. I mean, because astrology isn't witchcraft, right? Unless
I don't know. I'll have to ask her that question.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then we should set, because that would be like a really good bonus episode.
Yeah, that could be like one of our...
Yeah, so maybe we do that as the bonus. Maybe we do that as our mini episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, or because we're doing one every day of the week, like just one of the days. Yeah. But if you just want to do like a quick, just in case we do make it a mini episode, it's just like, hey, welcome to a mini episode of Web Crawlers. Today we're going to be, and then we can put in what you've already said about the astrologer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also to do like an opening for this episode, because Melissa, we didn't get you saying at the beginning that it was about witchcraft. I think we just like went right into it. But if we if you just want to say something like, today we're going to be doing an episode on like the like general like witchcraft and like in all its different forms or something like that, so people know that it's going to be like more of a broader term than you know.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say that now.
Allie's judging me.
No, I'm not judging you. I was literally just reading my emails.
All right, I'll say that now.
But I mean, I was also listening to you, but I was reading my emails. Do you want us to do the intro and the mini episode thing now, or should we do it after we? Okay.
Yeah, just do it now. What's the difference?
I don't know if it was just hard for Melissa to pull it from the middle of this episode when she's editing or not.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So I'll do the intro. So today we're going to be talking about all things witchcraft, the different offshoots of witchcraft, what are witches, what are different types of witchcraft that can be practiced.
And we have some interviews. So just we're going to give you just like the layman's view of witchcraft, a general witchcraft 101 today.
Get ready.
That's great.
Great.
And then, yeah, if you want to do the mini episode one of just like, all right, so today on today's mini episode, we're going to talk to astrologer, blah, blah, blah.
Let me pull up the thing so I have her name ready. I don't. Okay. Hello and welcome to Webcrawler's mini episode. Today I'm super excited. We're going to get into astrology and the history of astrology, and we have a real astrologist who practices professionally, really well renowned. Her name is Mackenzie Greer. She is an astrologist and palmist. She studied at the School of Oracles and Astrological Institute of Kepler College. So we're going to get a little bit into our own research on astrology and then an interview with her. So let's get into it.
Okay. And then you sent her questions.
Yes.
So then we'll just.
Oh, we should record our.
Or I can just record those.
Yeah.
Later. The list of questions.
Yeah. And you were on that email too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So then should we put where we talked about the history of astrology? We should put that in with.
Yeah, in the mini.
Yeah.
So speaking of astrology, then the birth chart. Okay, and then cool.
And then if you want to right now, while we've still got a little time, to just do the outro of the main episode so that thanks so much for listening to Webcrawlers, because you're gonna have the interviews in the middle.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Webcrawlers. Melissa, if people want to find us online, where can they reach us?
You can email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at webcrawlerspod, and we're on Facebook. We got a Reddit page. Yep.
And also, if you are a witch, a practicing witch, or know any information, or if you want to send us some spells,
Ooh,
that would be really cool.
Nothing bad,
but
though.
don't put a spell. I don't want a spell put on me.
Only good spells.
Yeah, well, if you're a real witch, you like, if you're like a white witch or like a real, if you follow like the tenets of witchcraft, you need like consent. I think you have to have consent before you can put a spell on someone.
Right.
Good to know.
Yeah, and we don't consent. We don't consent to spells being put on us.
Yeah, you cannot put a spell on me.
No, I said that I would like to receive spells, like via email. Like, email us a spell.
Yeah, but in court that wouldn't have held up if you would have had a spell put on you, and then you would have been in court. Which court? Which trial?
Court? Yeah, we're good.
A witch court.
The LA witch trials.
The LA witch trials.
Oh.
The Irios witch trials.
Oh no.
If you have like a written spell, like, hey Melissa, hey Maria, hey Allie, this is a cool spell I have on like how to get abundance and wealth in your life. Just thought I'd shoot it over to you.
And I'm not cursing you guys. This is just a spell.
Yeah, this is like a written spell if you want to do it yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Here is the words to it. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Capiche? Okay, cool.
Capiche.
So email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com if you want to send us a written spell, but you do not have consent to do spells on us. Anyways, I'm Allie Siegel.
I'm Melissa Stettin.
And I'm Maria Blasucci.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
So, oops.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh, I have Gabrielle has entered the room. What is that?
Oh, great. A cute dog.
Okay, are we ready for her to pull up the
I think
questions?
so. Yeah.
Interview with, okay.
It shouldn't be long. It's just a few questions. Hi, bitch.
Wait, I can't.
She has to turn on her audio at the bottom.
Yeah. Hold on. There you go.
There you go.
It's not muted though.
There.
Oh no,
now
it's
you got
working.
it.
It's working.
I can't hear you guys though.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Go to the. Oh, she can't hear me.
Type it in the chat.
It should be.